Previously, we made our player jump from one platform to another platform, and we used onTriggerEnter to, see when we jump on another platform and land on it. And we also programmed the jump logic. Now what we need a controller that's going to create these platforms initially when we run the game. And also each time our player jumps on a new platform, that, controller or manager is going to create a new platform for our player, in order for him to jump on it, of course. Well, for that we need to create an empty game object. And this game object is going to be called Game Manager. So here I'm going to say Game Manager. Also inside of our scripts folder, create Game Manager folder. And inside of it, create a Game Manager script. And simply attach that script on our Game Manager and double click it so, MonoDevelop will open it and we can work here. And let me just give a little bit of space. I like to tag the end of the script right away by the name of it. And now we can, begin to program. So here I'm going to give a little bit space. As always, we need a couple of variables to work with. So the first one is going to be a public static game manager instance, because we also need an instance of our game manager. We need a serialized private game object, which is going to be our player. And we also need another one, which is going to be also serialized field private game object. And this is going to be our platform, because our game manager is going to create the player and the platform initially, when we run the game. And here we also need a private float, which is going to be min_x, which is going to be equal to -2.5f. Here we have max_x, which is going to be, 2.5f. And here we have min_y, which is going to be -4.7. And we have max_y, which is going to be equal to -3.7. And this is equivalent into writing here private float max_x and then assigning the value, so on and so forth. This is how can we declare that in one line. Here I'm going to create the awake function, and I'm also going to create make instance function, and simply here check if our instance is equal to null. Then our instance is going to be equal to this in order to set, our class or script to be this instance right here. And here I'm going to call this function inside of our awake function. In case you are wondering how I know how much I need to add for the min_x, max_x, min_y, max_y, what I did is I went here in my Unity editor and I took, for example, this platform and I position it. So here I want it to be the minimum x, because if we go on the left, we go into the negative. So this is going to be the minimum x that we use. And I position it then here, and I saw the position on the x here and copied it. And this is the max position, for example, for my, x position. And also here I've, positioned it, up and down in order to determine the max y position. So that's how I got that. And now I'm going to create a void create initial platforms function. Here we are going to create our initial platforms and the player. First, I'm going to create a vector3 temporary variable, which is equal to new vector3. And here we are going to pass a random.range variable. And it's going to be between min_x and min_x plus 1.2. Because we want to position our variable here. So this is the min_x, and we want to position it between min_x and min_x plus 2. So that's, for example, between here and here. That's why we are adding here 1.2. And we want to also use a random.range, and here is going to be min_y and max_y. So here we are not going to add any other values because we want to use the actual minimum x and minimum y. Again, this random.range is going to return a number between two given numbers. So it will return a number between min_y and max_y, not including max_y. So for example, if we have here 4 and 10, it will not include 10. it will give us a number between 4 and 9. And now what we are going to do is we are going to use the instantiate function, so not instance, instantiate, a function from MonoBehavior. So we inherit here from MonoBehavior and we can use this function. This function takes a parameter, which is a game object, and it will create a clone out of that game object. So we want to create a platform. So, well, we are passing the platform. We want to pass the position where we want to create it. So we want to create or pass our temporary position, and we need to pass the rotation. So for the rotation, simply use quaternion identity. This is going to set the rotation at 0, 0, 0. And now I'm going to use this temporary variable. So temp.y, and I'm going to add +2 on the y-axis. And now I'm going to use again instantiate, but instead of the platform, I'm going to use our player because I want to position my player initially above the first platform. So we want to create, for example, our first platform here, and we want to create a player right here above our first platform. And for that, we are using the same temporary position, just adding 2 at the y-axis. And here again, we are going to use our temporary position, but this time I'm going to pass max x and also here pass max x, but instead of +2, I'm going to add subtract 2. So instead of adding to my x, I'm simply going to subtract in order to, well, position it back. So if we go back here and I take the platform, so this is the maximum, for example. And well, for that, I'm going to subtract 1.2 because I want to position between here and here. And lastly, what I need to do is again, take our instantiate and instantiate a platform. So like this. So simply call instantiate platform. And I'm simply going to tag, well, my function here. And we are also going to call this function right here in the awake function, because as soon as we start the game, we want to create initial platforms in order for, well, those platforms, well, so that we are able to jump from one platform to another platform, which is, well, logic. Okay, we are ready to test this out. So if I go in my Unity editor, what we need to do is we need to select our game manager and go here into prefabs, and here in the player prefab, drag and drop the player prefab here where it says player, and also drag the platform prefab. So simply drag and drop it here where it says the platform. And we can now delete our platform and our player. So now if I run the game, we are going to have our player and our platform, and we see how they are positioned. And now if I rerun it again, we see that we have those two again, but at different positions. We see that our player is positioned on the initial platform, and we see that we have another platform right here. So again, simply use it like this, and now we can jump from one to another. So this is going to be our initial platform. So again, jump from one to another like this. And practically in the next video, what we need to do is we need to determine or see when we jump from one platform to another. So if we jump it like this and we land, and I need to land, I can't even win on my own game, or can't even win, excuse me. So again, let me try one more time. So when we jump from one platform to another, just let us pretend that I won and my player jumped or landed here on the platform. What we need to do when the player is here, we need to take our camera and we need to move it like this so that our camera goes right here. And we need to create another, well, platform, so around here. So also that when our camera goes from here up to here, we are going to have a new platform for our player to jump. So we are going to do that in the next video.